You can't lift up Jesus and yourself at the same time. People that are proud generally don't worship or pray. They're just proud. You know, in first century Ephesus, a lot of those people had come to Christ with no church background, no Old Testament history, and that would be an off-putting statement to them, humble. Because in first century Ephesus, humility was not a virtue, it was a vice. Nobody thought humility was something to be grasped for or to be attained. In fact, one of the great philosophers, he listed humility in one of the vices. It wasn't something that normally you would expect Paul to say, but he says, if you're gonna maintain the unity, you gotta be humble. What's he thinking of when he's thinking of humility? I think something like this. He's thinking of the person that considers others better than themselves. He's thinking of the person that won't stand on their own rights. He's thinking about the person that they have a proper estimate of themselves. They don't think too high of themselves or too low of themselves. They're humble. Question is, how do you get there? You ever thought about that? How do you get to be humble? I just thought about that this week, and I'll tell you what I think, and it's sort of the path I walk down, and obviously I got a lot more walking to do down this path, but here's the first mark of humility, and it's the way, you know what the first mark of humility is? You pray. You pray. Proud people don't pray. Think about this. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, God says, if my people who are called by my name will what? Humble themselves and pray. It's a humbling thing to pray. That's the first step you take when you want to develop humility is you pray. You pray. The root of pride is when you get up in the morning and you go off to work and you don't pray. That's pride. That's saying, God, I got this. I can do this without you. That's forgetting that Jesus said, without me, you can't do anything. Pride starts when you get up in the morning and you don't pray. You don't say, Father, I need your help. Father, I got a couple deals I got to put together today, and I don't know how it's going to go. I got some, stuff to sell, or I got a class to teach, or, my temptations feel really, really tough, big today, so help. That's the first mark of humility. You pray. Here's the second. You worship. You worship. You give time to worship. What do you do when you worship? You lift up Jesus and the Father through the Spirit. You can't lift up Jesus and yourself at the same time. People that are proud generally don't worship or pray. They're just proud. And so worship. Here's another thing I think that's helpful when it comes to humility. There's, I'm just trying to say a couple of sentences so I remember what my next point was. It was, we pray, we worship, we compare ourselves to Jesus. We stop comparing ourselves to other people and we start comparing ourselves to Jesus. That puts you in your place pretty quick. At least it does me. If it doesn't you, I think you better get some help. Pastor Ken, call him, he'll counsel you. So you pray, you worship, you set your life alongside the life of Jesus. You get a proper estimate of yourself. Now here's a very practical thing if you're dealing with pride and you're on social media. Try this. From now to the end of January, don't look at how many likes you get on anything. Don't look at how many likes you get. Can you do that for a month? Can I? Well, I wonder how many people listen to my talk, Can I do that? It's hard. But I think that helps us understand that it's not about us, not about what we say, not about, it's about Jesus.